In the ancient world, 5 elements shaped warriors. And now, they shape footballers. It all begins here with the foundation. Earth. The foundation of all things: strength, stability, discipline. Water. Fluid, ever-changing, to move like waters to control the game. Fire. The unbreakable spirit, the hunger, the passion. Wind. Unseen, untouchable. Those who master it move beyond reach. And then, the void. The one who understands sees everything and nothing. This is the 5 rings. The year is 1645. A lone figure sits in the dim glow of a flickering lantern. His hands, once used to grip a sword in battle, now move carefully across the page, writing the final lessons of his life. His name was Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi wasn't just a fighter, he was a shadow, moving with complete control, always one step ahead. By 13, he had already won his first duel. By 30, he had fought over 60 life-or-death battles and never lost. But at some point, victory wasn't enough. Musashi wasn't just looking to win fights. He was searching for something bigger, a deeper understanding, a way to master not just his sword, but himself. So he disappeared, left behind the noise of the world and retreated to a quiet cave. And there, with nothing but ink and paper, he wrote down everything he had learned, his blueprint for greatness. What Musashi wrote wasn't just a book, it was a strategy, a mindset, a way of moving, thinking, and adapting. He called it Go Rin No Sho, the Book of 5 Rings. Musashi believed that everything, battle, skill, even life itself, could be understood through these 5 elements, and if you master them, you could master anything.
So what does this have to do with you? And what does it have to do with football? Musashi wrote this book 380 years ago in 1645 on how to master the martial arts. I understand if you may think, how on earth is this relevant to me? The answer to that question is more complex than you may think. And to fully understand the answer, we have to break down the concept of the 5 rings, piece by piece, ring by ring, and then, and only then, will we get to the answer. And we will start with the foundation of everything: Earth. So in the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi describes Earth as the foundation, the base that everything else is built on. In battle, that meant having solid footwork, discipline, and control over the sword. If a samurai didn't have that, they would lose. Simple as that. And in football, it's the same. Your Earth is your fundamentals, your technical skills, your speed, your strength, your tactical awareness. These are the non-negotiables, the things that you can always rely on no matter what situation that you're in. Think about the best players in the world. What do they all have in common? It's not flashy tricks, it's not some secret talent, it's that their foundation is rock solid. A perfect first touch, effortless movement, the ability to play themselves out of pressure almost every single time. That is what makes them consistent game after game. But here's the thing, if you only focus on building a solid foundation, you will eventually hit a wall. Because football, just like life, doesn't stand still. The game is constantly changing, defenders adapt, new tactics evolve, new challenges come at you every single second. And if all you built is a rigid foundation, but you can't adjust when things don't go as planned, you will eventually fall apart. But that is where the second ring comes in.
Musashi understood this too, because no matter how strong your stance is, no matter how stable the ground beneath you feels, it will never stay the same. That's why the second ring is water. Water doesn't resist change, it adapts, it moves around obstacles instead of crashing into them. If you strike it, it absorbs the impact and keeps flowing. And as a footballer, that's exactly how you need to think. Football isn't played in straight lines. It's not a game where everything goes according to plan. A player who masters the element of water doesn't just react to what's happening, they anticipate. They shift, they adjust, they flow into the right spaces before the opponent even knows what's coming. This is why the best players in the world don't look like they're forcing things. They move effortlessly, like they're always one step ahead. Because they're not fighting the game, they're moving with it.
This means to achieve true mastery, we have to get specific. We have to be able to adapt our foundational skills and make them work in complex situations. As you may now understand, earth and water have to go hand in hand to allow us to get closer to achieving mastery. But earth and water are only part of the equation.
Because having a strong foundation and the ability to adapt isn't enough. Because football, like battle, isn't just about skill. It isn't just about intelligence. It's about something deeper, something raw, something that drives you forward when your body is screaming at you to stop. It's about fire, the unbreakable spirit, the hunger, the passion, the thing that separates those who want it from those who need it. In ancient samurai duels, the battle was life or death. For the samurai, hesitation was fatal. One mistake, one moment of doubt, and their opponent would cut them down. That's why fire wasn't just about aggression, it was about absolute commitment. When they stepped onto the battlefield, there was no turning back. Their minds were locked in. Every movement was fueled by an unyielding drive. And when exhaustion crept in, when their arms felt heavy and their vision blurred from the sweat and pain, it wasn't the skill that carried them through, it was fire.
This is something that I've struggled with from time to time during my own career because I think that certain fires has been well lit ever since I was a kid. The fires of hunger, passion, the desire to improve, but other fires like aggression, for example, has not been burning as strong. And if you feel like there's a certain fire in your own life and career that could need a bit of help to get going, I would definitely say try your best to light them up. However, I think it's even more important to take advantage of the fires that are already burning strong and let their momentum take you forward. When you go through your career, you begin to realize something, because at first you think there's only one right way to train, one perfect method, one school of thought. But then as you go deeper, you start to see that there are many ways to master the game. Different players train differently, different teams play differently, different coaches teach differently, and yet they all find success. Because mastery isn't about locking yourself into one single path. It's about being open to everything. And that's where the win comes in.
In ancient Japan, Musashi's school was not the only one. Throughout the country, countless sword masters preached different philosophies. Some believed in raw aggression, overwhelming their opponents with relentless strikes. Others mastered precision, waiting for the perfect moment to deliver a single, fatal blow. And then there were those who focused on deception, outsmarting their enemies rather than overpowering them. Musashi watched them all. He studied their strengths, he understood their weaknesses, and instead of rejecting their methods, he took the best from each one. He let their knowledge flow through him, adapting, evolving, refining his own technique. Like the wind, he moved freely, never tied to one idea, one approach, one school of thought. That's why he was unstoppable, because he never closed his mind. And in football, it's exactly the same.
For me, this is one of the most underrated qualities a footballer can have, because too many players nowadays get stuck in their own way of thinking. They refuse to listen, and because of that, they also refuse to evolve. But the ones who grow the fastest, the ones who actually reach the top, they study everything. They learn from their teammates, their coaches, their opponents, and even other players playing in different leagues and different styles. They never stop absorbing that knowledge. Wind represents movement, and in the journey towards mastery, movement is everything. But here's the thing about wind. It's powerful, it can shape landscapes, and it can carry ideas across the world. But it's still something that we can see, something that we can feel. And to truly reach mastery, we have to go beyond that. Beyond what is visible, beyond what is tangible. To a place where few ever dare to go. A place called the void.
Having attained a principle, one detaches from the principle. Thus, one has spontaneous independence in the science of martial arts, and naturally attains marvels. Discerning the rhythm when the time comes, one strives spontaneously and naturally scores.
These are the words of Miyamoto Musashi. He speaks of a state beyond technique, beyond knowledge, beyond conscious thought. This is the void. It's not something you see, not something you grasp. It's the space between everything, the unseen force that ties all things together. To Musashi, this was the ultimate mastery. The moment when the warrior no longer needs to think about his actions, but simply acts. A place where the body and mind are perfectly in sync, where hesitation does not exist, where decisions are made before the conscious mind even registers them. In this state, there is no fear, no doubt, no hesitation. There's only instinct, and for those who reach it, it's that time itself bends to their will.
We may not be swordsmen, we may not fight life or death duels, but every footballer has felt the void. You know this moment, when the game slows down, when your first touch is perfect, where every pass lands exactly where you want it, and where every movement feels effortless. You're not thinking about what to do next, you just do it. This is called flow, and that happens when your skill level and the difficulty of the challenge perfectly align. Not too hard, not too easy, but the perfect balance. This is when you perform at your absolute best. When even the concept of time disappears and you are completely absorbed in the moment. This is the void.
Musashi never believed that knowledge was fixed. To him, mastery was a journey, an endless path of refinement, adaptation, and growth. His 5 rings were never meant to be boundaries, but foundations. And if Musashi were here today, he would not cling to the past. He would look forward. He would see that the world has changed, that the warrior's path has evolved. And just as steel sharpens steel, there is now something greater that strengthens us all. Something that binds warriors, athletes, and people across the world. The 6th ring. Now you see why all of the rings matter. They are not separate, they are connected. You cannot master earth without water. You cannot control fire without wind. And you cannot reach the void without connection. In Musashi's time, warriors often stood alone. Their battles were fought in single combat, their strength measured by their own skill. But Musashi himself knew, true mastery was never just about the sword. It was about understanding, about learning from everything. And today, the path to mastery is no longer just an individual pursuit. It's about how we connect with our teammates, our mentors, our rivals, the team that moves as one, the player who lifts those around him, the unspoken bond that turns individuals into something greater. This is the 6th ring. This is Kizuna.
私の道は𝗪𝗏のためのものではなかった。300年の時を超えて今も 戦士たちの心、日記つくつくている。地、水、風、空。空はただの言語ではない。空は真実だ。空は決意だ。空は戦う者の道だ。そして今、新しい時代の戦士たちよ。あなたは何を残すのか。これは五輪の書ではない。これは6輪の書だ。